Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis, and it's time for another edition of Uncover the Covers. This time it is for Marvel's April solicitations 2016. We'll see how bad of a leg there is. It looks like with my last Uncover the Cover video and Comic Book Roundtable last night, been kind of laggy. Anyway, it's morning. Good enough morning for me anyway. Drink my commercial tea. Straighten my beard out. Anyway, enough self-grooming. Let's talk Marvel Comics, shall we? See if we can get this screen share here. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Let's see. Here we go. And I'm using comic book resources page. That's the friendly page for me to use. I get the least amount of pop-up and weird stuff going on with it. So we'll start right out. There are lots. I will try to not let, I'm trying to ignore the actual solicitations itself, to tell you the truth, because some of these solicitations drive me crazy. But we'll just talk the covers. So first one is Captain America Road to War #1. It's listing all the variant covers, but not telling me who the regular cover artist is. Oh, cover by Ron Lim. So I'm assuming this is the regular cover by Ron Lim. And you know, this is 100% that kind of cover I do not like. The let's just have people charging forward into some weird void. You know, because there's the blasting energy in the background. I hate not having an actual background. Yeah, I am not, I'm not a fan of that design. You know, the makeup, the weight of the cover is fine as far as everything being centered and that sort of thing. Yeah, interesting that this Captain America's back showing with the shield, his regular shield and whatnot. I don't know, is this from you know, some sort of a movie or something? I don't know. And I don't like how segmented most of their costumes are and whatnot. Everything feels stiff to me. Not a fan. Really kind of know what the solicitations for that are, but yeah, I don't know. At any rate, Invincible Iron Man #8. Art by Mike Deodato. I'm gonna kill a bunch of people's names in this today, I can tell. You know, I kind of like that. I actually like that a lot. I like these kind of mysteriously silhouetted, you know, characters that look somewhat ninja-like that are getting ready to execute Iron Man. You got Spider-Man dropping down on him. Yeah, I mean, I guess we could question where the hell is Spider-Man dropping from, but he's a spider, right? So he can jump a long ways. I like this night sky. You know, okay, so you got, you know, blackish figures. I've talked about this last Uncovers the Covers. You got these blackish figures. You know, they would blend right in with the night, but because you've got this kind of glow, you know, of lights or whatever, you know, back there, you know, gives most of the sky kind of a reddish tone to it and stuff. But you can still see the dots of the stars and stuff. So I think it works good. You know, and you know, like I said, those dark silhouetted characters that aren't completely silhouetted. I mean, they're just really you know, shaded and stuff. So they don't look flat like one-dimensional or two-dimensional things. They look three-dimensional because of the shading that is on them. So that's kind of cool. I like that cover. To me, that's a cover that's intriguing. I kind of want to know what's going on. Okay, so International Iron Man. This is with a cover by Alex Maleev. And yeah, I don't know, it was a piece of cover art. I mean, this is interesting. You know, clearly it's a picture that's been burnt up and whatnot. hides pretty much everything except for the kid that's there. Perfect kind of a thing for Alex Maleev to do. Seems like he's, does a lot of, I think, stuff where it's photo referenced. Kind of thing. He can do photorealism fairly well. So this has that kind of look to it. I don't know if that's a piece of is that a piece of appealing cover art? I'm not sure. Just a burnt piece of paper. Yeah, it works pretty good. For what it is, I don't know if that would grab me if I was looking at it on the shelf. Okay, Black Panther. So it is art by Brian Stelfreeze is the cover artist. There's a ton of variants, so I'm not sure we're gonna know whose is whose. Looking for a signature. I don't see one, so I'm guessing this is it. I don't know. I don't like this. I like some of the symmetry of the buildings behind there and that sort of thing. The color is fine, but if this is Black Panther, it almost looks like a statue. Or is that a statue? I mean, it looks like a statue that's sitting out front of these, buildings and whatnot. I'm a fan of the angle of the mouse or worm view that we have. We're the worm or the mouse looking up. So I mean that makes a powerful picture and stuff. Man, I mean I don't like the face being pretty much gone. Yeah, not a real fan of that. I mean I like the colors. Like I said, I like the colors of it. That's pleasant, but I don't like how much shading's done and stuff on it. Not a strong cover for me artistically. Let's see. Let's look at some of the variant covers. I don't know that I'm looking at the variant covers for everything. We'll look at some of them here. Not exactly sure her signature that is. This is an interesting piece of art. Very intriguing. I don't know why, if this is Black Panther, he looks closer to Batman. I mean, he's got the ears clearly because the Panther has the ears, but the cape thing, Black Panther doesn't have a cape, right? I mean, I know that it's an artistic element to get these other figures, these warriors in there, and the birds flying. And I mean, I like the colors and the whole thing down here at the bottom is veins and what looks like burning almost law whatnot. So that's interesting, but it's an intriguing piece of art. I don't know that it makes for a good cover though. It's not balanced. I don't think it's balanced really well. With that stuff up in the top, those people up there. So I don't know that it makes a lot of sense, any way around. But it's interesting. I mean, so I kind of like it, but I don't know that it works as a cover. I'm not sure whose that was. Because these are, there's a hip hop variant cover, there's a connected variant cover, a design variant cover, a 50th anniversary cover, a Ryan Sook cover, a Scotty Young cover. There's a blank cover. There's a lot of different covers. Oosh, I don't like this one. I just don't like the way that people are drawn. Yeah, I don't. No, thank you. Don't care for that. Yeah, I just don't think it's done well in any way, shape, or form. So, and the final variant cover that they're showing here. Let's see, I kind of like this one. And this one almost looks like an Alex Ross cover. I know it's not. just kind of like the leaping forward, very simple Black Panther leaping away from what looks like a bunch of security guards. Kind of like that. At any rate, Star Wars, Poe Dameron. You know, I haven't seen this movie yet. I was kind of supposed to go see it today, but here I am. So yeah, I mean, that's, you know, Phil Noto cover. He does people really well. Turn off that squeaking. You know, that's cool. As far as, you know, you got a fighter pilot. Guess I don't have a lot to say about that. Gwenpool, number 1. Let's see. Gahuru, I think, is the cover artist. I'm guessing it's this first one here. Yep. And of course, this is ridiculous fun. For, you know, what it is, I think this is a great cover. You know, it embodies the kind of zaniness that is Deadpool. It's cute. It's well balanced. It looks like fun. I mean, the characters that are in the background look like fun. Does she actually hang out with a squid that wears a crown? Because that's awesome if she does. You know, just the toys and all the other, you know, silliness that's there. You know, that's cool. That's a fun cover. I don't know if Gwenpool is for kids, but I could definitely see this appealing to younger kids because it just looks goofy and fun. You know, other than there's a big machine gun on her on her motorbike. So yeah. Moon Knight number 1. This is Greg Small. Does the oh no, that's not right. Try again. Greg Smallwood. Number 1. See, I like this cover. I mean, I think it works well. You know, him, you know, white, you know, just a little bit of shadowing there and stuff. You know, clearly he is straitjacketed. You know, the fact he's the hood over and stuff too. That's kind of creepy but cool. Well, I like that. To me, that's a striking cover. You know, I kind of want to know what's going on just because of how simple it is. You know, despite it being white, it works in this case because, of course, clearly he's in some sort of sanitarium where everything is, you know, white and neutral, as it were. So yeah, I like that. That's kind of cool. Spider-Woman Alpha number 1. This is one of those solicitations I'm really trying to ignore. So, you know, I like this cover. You know, we got our 3 characters here that are all, you know, tied up in some sort of webbing. They look all great, hung upside down because of the angle they're at. Basically, you know, perpendicular to that is this mouthless woman that we could take a guess as to, you know, who or what that is, but it's balanced out in the middle really well. You know, the colors work, the reds, you know, set on top of this, you know, white field, even though we really can't see exactly what's going on, you know, back behind it. It still, you know, it still seems to be working, I think. So, you know, I don't know. I like it. I like it. I think it looks pretty good. I like the colors. I like their faces are drawn and they're interesting. You know, great expressions there. Spider-Woman clearly is pissed off. So I like it. Spider-Gwen number 7. Cover by Yasmin Putri. All these names I can't say. I think this is her. So, yeah, I mean, I like the whole rock and roll element of this. I mean, that's cool. why they're all spinning all over the place, I'm not exactly sure, but it still looks fun. You know, it's got some dynamic, the lines here. You do have a crowd shot down here below to give you a sense that they are, you know, rocking out. You know, why they're flying all over the place, not sure, but it still seems fun. This foot's a little weird. I don't know. It almost like it should be bigger than what it is. Because I'm assuming that foot is got to be really close to us, with the rest of her being, you know, the rest of hers is back as far as it is. And of course, I want to be really particular. She's missing her leg down here. But no, it's kind of fun. I kind of like it. I don't know, but I wish it was colored a little more. I wish it wasn't just all the same palette. You know, I mean, you know, there's Spider going back there. You know, she's wearing her colors. But does everybody else wear these colors too? And why is everybody so lit in blue? Why couldn't they have picked a different light? I guess. But I mean, I like it. It's fun. Oh, for the rock and roll. Silk number 7, Tan 4. Let's see. Cover by. This is another cover by Yasmin Putri. I'm not sure if this is the one though. Oh, maybe it is. Yeah, I mean, great. It's a family portrait. I mean, it's a nice family portrait, well balanced as far as that goes. So yeah, I mean, that's a decent cover. You know, clearly it's hung somewhere like in a hallway. You get a little bit of light casting on top of the whole thing. Yeah, I like it. It's well done. It's well done. Spider-Woman number 6. Yeah, the regular covers by Yasmin Truth. The variant covers by Javier Rodriguez. Man, I almost hope that when I order this, I can get the variant cover for the regular price, because I like it better than the regular cover. Here's the regular cover. Clearly she just likes that blue, you know, when she's coloring it and stuff, that kind of blue to light stuff. And I'm not a real big fan of that. So like about this cover, the kind of faux background, you know, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this bright starred shock thing. I don't think works really well. And I don't think the coloring of it is very strong. You know, really, nor is the line work. If you look really closely at the line work, like at her chin, it's kind of sloppy. You can see a little tail of where it drug off, and it's like they didn't really do a very good job of erasing those lines, in my opinion. I mean, unless she's supposed to have one hair hanging off of her chin or something. Yeah, no, I'm not really feeling that. This is the one I'd rather have. This one right here. All the knives flying at her as she's, you know, kicking up. I like this better. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy that one. I like the way that one looks. All the crazy knives flying forward and stuff. It's kind of cool. These comics are all messed up for me because I'm not getting the Spider-Woman thing, because I'm not getting the Silk and the Gwen stories. So that Spider-Woman is part 4 of the whole thing. So Spider-Man Deadpool number 4. Oops, I better look to see who the artist is here. Ed McGuinness is the artist. Here we are, them sitting in a bar. Spidey's got somebody's name, phone number down here. I don't know if it's hers or not. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's okay. Not exactly sure what the story is going on at this table. Clearly, oh, they're at Looters. Get it? Looters? If you're in America, America has these bars called Hooters. It's an okay cover. That's kind of funny. I mean, in that sense and whatnot. Clearly, there's a story going on here. You know, why this woman is, you know, licking her lips, and I think Deadpool's giving kissy faces. You know, Valkyrie. I'm assuming that's Valkyrie. Is no, that's Lady Thor. That's Thor, right? It's Thor. Um, Looking fairly depressed, and Spider-Man clearly being discouraged. It's kind of fun. It's an okay cover. Amazing Spider-Man number 10 and 11. 10. To me, this is a cool cover. It's exciting. There's some sort of action going on. The background has its own little action as the subway train is screaming out of the tunnel, it looks like. You know, clearly he's fighting this person with a Mercury symbol on their chest. You know, stuck to the side of the train here. To me, that's exciting. You know, this is visually exciting. The thing he's hanging on to, the explosion out at the end of it. Yeah, it's well centered. It has action. It has flow. Your eye wants to move right through the whole action as it's following that train. You know, down the tracks and then the tunnel. It works fairly well. Yeah, and I'm assuming this lighting that's over here on the tunnel, the lighting would be on this side of the tunnel too. So the lighting the way it is makes sense, you know, from where all the light sources are coming from. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Of course, maybe it's going away from that too. It could be going away from that because of the way his, you know, his cloak and whatnot is running. So maybe it's coming towards us. Either way, it works either direction. Except if it's coming towards us, that's always kind of weird because normally most sequential art, not that a cover is sequential art, mind you, most sequential art, the action always moves from left to right, at least in American comics, because that's how we all naturally read. Our eyes have been trained to move that direction. So that's why you look at most any sequential art, unless there is a specific reason to break that, almost all action sequence moves from left to right. Rarely does it do otherwise, and if it does otherwise, most time it's broken and it doesn't work very well. So anyway, I like that cover. That's a cool cover. That's an interesting cover. That's a kind of cover that would make me go, I wonder what's going on in Spider-Man. Maybe I should look that up, except I kind of know what's going on in Spider-Man. I'm not interested in a lot of that. So and here's the other one. Clearly he must have beat that guy because he's got the symbol there. Yeah, I mean, okay, so we're floating in the cosmos, and that makes a certain amount of sense because we have all these zodiac signs here. You know, I don't know exactly who this group is or whatever. So that makes sense because, you know, because of that, the whole glowing, these stars coming off of him. I'm assuming he's supposed to be making the constellation of a spider, which is kind of clever and whatnot. Maybe this kind of swirling smoke coming off of his butt, maybe that's not so you know, a good idea. But I do like this cover. It's intriguing. These are all interesting looking characters. The fact they're all in blues, I'm assuming that's because we're up in the cosmos, you know, kind of a thing. This is another cover I would be interested in picking up just to see what's going on in Spider-Man, because like I said, I'm intrigued with all these other characters that are there and stuff. I do find it interesting though that we're getting, you know, Spider-Man from behind. We're seeing his back. You know, I wonder if they could have flipped him around so we could see his face and whatnot, which would be the more appropriate thing to be looking at. Him facing these people in a sense. But I mean, I'm not 100% sure on that, but that maybe that would be more appealing to us be seeing Spider-Man's, you know, the front half of him instead of the back. But I still like this cover. It works. Both these covers are intriguing, make me wonder what's going on in Spider-Man. Web Warriors number 6. Oh, the art in that last thing, those were Alex Ross covers, clearly. So Web Warriors number 6, cover art by Julian Totino Tedesco. Okay, so clearly this is a funny one, and I do think it's kind of funny. No. Move it along, webheads. You got to be kidding me. So I like this. I like this cover. I like the way it's designed. I like them all looking forward. Them all contemplating getting hot dogs. And of course, Spider-Ham has got nothing to do with that. I think they're cutely drawn. You know, there's enough stuff down here to give it weight. Like we're someplace. The balloons are fun. The balloons here counterbalance the text balloons that are on it. That's a fun cover. I mean, that to me, that's amusing. That, you know, that's a good laugh. And well designed. It's got the perfect weight right across the middle of the thing, even though it's mostly a white cover. I think it works well. Yeah. Spider-Man 2009, number 9. Man, I know nobody who reads these books. I know people do, but yeah. I need to watch more videos, don't I? Anyway, cover by Francisco Martina. Oh yeah, let's get a giant ad in there. Okay. Ooh, that's sinister. or it's really sweet. I mean, I don't know the character well enough, you know, these little hook things that he's got going on, little venom things, I'm assuming. This is a really well done cover though, as far as, you know, what it is. Clearly there's somebody in a hospital who's got some serious issues going on, a lot of tubes hooked into him and whatnot. It's lit really well. You know, it you know, the white and pale of that hand versus the black glove, you know, works very well. These fingers look excellent. The shading, the lines, you know, where the knuckles will be at and stuff. Fingernails even look really good. Yeah, I mean, this is a good cover. You know, painted really well. You know, bright here, shadow on the other side where the arm is. All that stuff works. You know, really well. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good cover. That's a good cover. Spider-Man number 3. Let's see. Sarah Pacelli is the artist. This is a fun cover. So clearly got the balance between the two. It's there. I'm assuming Tyler runs across the top. Ms. Marvel there showing something to Miles, who's hung upside down reading his books. No, that's a fun cover. It's a fun cover. That, you know, this pipe that they're sitting on, that's on like the Brooklyn Bridge or whatever. You know, is a nice, you know, counterbalance between those two characters. Yeah, that's really good. That's a really cool cover. What are the stories about? Because I like Ms. Marvel. That would be interesting. No, I like that though. It's a really good cover. Really clean. Looks really well. I wonder if they used actual water, Photoshop water, to make the bottom of that where the water is at. Not that it really matters. Just more curiosity from our how did they do it standpoint. But no, it's cool. I like that. You know, a little bit of wind tossing the, you know, her scarf around. Yeah, I like that a lot. Amazing Spider-Man 1.5. Cover by Simon Benach. Oh, killing these names. So Spider-Man in some sort of fire or whatever it looks like. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I mean, clearly, if Spider-Man fills up so much of the space that looking at the lighting, I'm not sure why the back of the head is lit the way it is versus the front of the head being lit. I mean, I know there's fire everywhere. I'm just not sure the top of the head would be. Yeah. And this bright spot right here looks like a flat spot as opposed to a bright spot. If this is dark here, this should stay dark, because yeah, well, how would one little I mean, unless somebody shine a flashlight in that spot, why would that spot be the way it is? once you've reached the brow and go over the top of the head, if it's dark up here, this should be dark too. Maybe not as dark as it is up here on the top, but it should be darker than this brow is. At any rate, as a whole, I like this cover. Nice close up of Spider-Man is cool. Because it's so close and whatnot, it dominates the cover. Don't have to worry about what's going on back behind it and whatnot. So that's good. Spider-Man and Silk, the Spider Fly Effect, number 2 of 4, cover by Stacy Lee. I like all this crazy, gears, clocks, stuff that's going on behind him. Very Doctor Who-ish of sorts. I like it. Not sure what I think of Spidey and Silk, though. It's okay. It's an okay cover. Them just kind of transparently being there. Why they're standing there while that's going on like that, I don't know. I mean, to me, these both being spider people, I'm always inclined to think traditionally they should be posed more dynamic, all stretched out and weird because they're spider type people, and that's how you traditionally see them. So them just standing, basically being pretty straight, always seems kind of odd to me. To me, would have been more dynamic if they would have been kind of pasted on the walls of this stuff that's going on, behind them, kind of a deal. But okay, cover though. Like I said, I like the gears and clockwork aspect of it is cool. Carnage number 7, covered by Mike Del Mundo. Rich, this is really sinister looking. I mean, this is really cool. I mean, this kind of, blood or smoke or veins even. Rolling up and holding this crown with all these eerie skulls set in the black, background on this throne. Very cool, very eerie, very creepy. I like it. It's really cool. Like the little bit of reflection that's in the floor. This high polished black floor. You got to figure, very sinister looking. And I'm assuming that's what it's supposed to be. So I think that's pretty cool, pretty striking. Visually, lighting's right. We're gonna high, bright shoulders and whatnot. This part's gonna be dark. Underleg's gonna be dark. This part will be the tops of the feet. All works well. Yeah, very strong. Spidey number 5. Nick Bradshaw is the cover artist. It's kind of the old school. It's kind of the old school design. You've even got, of course, your Spider-Man and Iron Man face over there. I don't know. Is this like the equivalent of Spider-Man team up? Because it's awesome. The Marvel team up stuff. Yeah, I mean, I really like this. You get great perspective of your buildings, the old school, line drawing of it. Then fighting the Vulture. He's swooping down in a really cool dynamic way. Spider-Man is, twisted and swinging, off the Vulture, and you got Iron Man down here flying in and blasting. Really dynamic. They're all, you feel the action of them all swirling around each other. And so I think it's great. I mean, I think it looks really cool. And that's old school kind of comic book. That reminds me of Bronze Age, Amazing Spider-Man comic book. Just really cool. Cool. That's some fun stuff. I like it. Just kind of reading the solicitation, so I was just curious. I may have to look up what Spidey is actually about. So, Captain America, Sam Wilson, number 8. The cover is by Paul Renard. Looks like there's going to be a Civil War variant to be announced. And this is a standoff tie-in. Don't read the solicitations, Travis. Just talk the covers. So here we go. We've got Sam Wilson up front running forward, and then we have Bucky. I'm assuming is that Bucky? I'm not sure who that is. Then we got old Rogers on the side, I would guess. And then we've got this, the war poster, Captain America in the background. yeah, I don't particularly care for this cover because I don't like the rushing out of nothing kind of thing. I mean, the war poster makes it look like, makes it look like there's something back there, but it's not necessarily particularly. Yeah, probably at least of the favorite of the Captain America covers that I've gotten so far. So not terribly excited by that. Let's see, New Adventures #9, cover by Linya Liu. So, Godzilla with the American flag painted on its head, or is this Nuke and whatever pills he's taking now makes him turn into Godzilla? I like this cover. I like the monster. He's interesting. I like this sketchy kind of lots of pen and line work that's going on there. But you get back here, it starts to feel unfinished. I'm not sure who this is in the white thing here, but there's not a lot of detail on this. I understand it being a slick, maybe robotic type armor, but still that lack of detail there in comparison to some other stuff. But I do like how it kind of fades out around the sides. It doesn't really matter. This is our focus. Clearly, this monster head's the focus. That's where most of the detail's at, and it works as far as that goes. Gives us a vague idea who the Avengers that are there. They're going to be dealing with this. But it's all about that monster, and the monster's cool. So it does work in that sense. New Avengers #10. Oh, so this cover is by Declan Shalvey, who's always a strong artist. Clearly, more than likely, Jody Valeri did the coloring of it, which is always incredibly dynamic. This is a great cover. The darks and the lights contrasting each other. The power that's coming off of this guy that's wearing a tie as he's wrecking SHIELD officers and whatnot is pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean, to me that's exciting. Your eye wants to follow these things down to him, to the action, as he's wrecking these figures that are somewhat silhouetted, not completely, but close. Yeah, I just think it's it's very, very catchy. This is a cover that would catch my eye, as it was sitting on the newsstand. So, Uncanny Avengers #8, Ryan Stegman cover. I'm not a Ryan Stegman fan. Oh no, looks like Professor X. That's its own can of worms. This isn't a bad cover though. The way she's lit, so this, assuming Professor X is sitting behind the light. Yeah, it's not bad. Not a bad cover. It's proportioned well. It's everything's equal. Nothing's lopsided on it. All important things, I think, when it comes to cover art. So yeah, I mean, it's not bad. I'm not super excited by it, but it's okay. All new, all different Avengers #8, cover by Alex Ross. And see, I like this cover. I mean, I'm not sure exactly why Alex Ross seems right now to be going with this kind of this bluish palette. I don't know why a lot of these people are lighting stuff in kind of a blue color. To me, that's an odd light choice. But this is an interesting cover. Clearly, there's all these people throwing in their masks, and there's a lot of masks here. There's even Ant-Man's right there in the middle. So I like seeing these hands drop these masks and whatnot, and there's lots of masks there, so you can spend lots of time looking at all the different people who have laid down their masks, and that's all really interesting. I appreciate all of that. Yeah, no, I really like that cover. That's a good cover. That's a cover that makes you want to look at it and study it to see what all is going on in it. Who all those masks are and stuff. So that's cool. I appreciate it. That's cool. Illuminati number 6, cover by Riley Rosmos. So I mean I like this cover. The colors are odd. You know, why is he in blue? But I think it's fun otherwise. I mean, here we got Absorbing Man. Oh, maybe he's blue because he's absorbed the metal from the ice cream scoop. I get it. That's why he's in blue. So it looks like the old-fashioned ice cream shop, you know, kind of a thing. I even like this graphic that's in the background because if you look closely, it's the ball and chain. So that's cool way to incorporate that in with it. You know, and he's scooping ice cream and you know, all smiley and whatnot. You know, why there's a little cute little dog on top of the his ball, I don't know. But no, I mean it's cool. I mean I like it. It's a lot of fun. That's a great cover. You know, the blue to yellow, those contrasting colors, a little more, you know, aqua to orange per se, but still along the same kind of palette on the color wheel as far as that kind of goes. So that's fun. That's a funny cover. I enjoy that cover. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. number 4. Mike Norton does the color art on this. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's a cover of 2 people fighting. It works in the fact that they actually physically look like they're in contact with each other. It looks like they were drawn with the intent of being physically in contact with each other, as opposed to both drawn and kind of set like they're going to clash. I mean, they actually are clashing. I mean, if you're going to have this kind of a cover of, you know, 2 people engaged like that, I really think you need to have them engaged so they legitimately look like they're you're crashing into each other and whatnot. I didn't realize that Mockingbird had wings. But no, I mean, this is, you know, let's cover them kind of plummeting and falling amongst the birds, you know, battling away. Yeah, not bad cover. Very traditional in that thing. Avengers Standoff Assault on Pleasant Hill Omega number 1. Whew. Cover art by Daniel Acuna. I'm a big Daniel Acuna fan, so we'll see how this works for me. Okay, so a lot going on here. Okay, so I think it works. I mean, so clearly this purple guy and the crystal-looking guy at the top, I think they're the first thing your eye hits, and that's off to this one side. And counterbalance to that is this not so detailed wreckage and stuff in the background. So that makes your eye kind of follow the path of their action down, and stuff stays colored. Stuff stays colored as we go down and we cross over the cover. So we're going from one top corner to a bottom corner. And we get to see all this action in between. Our eye kind of follows all that action. So that really does, I think that works. You know, it keeps it strong as far as it not being overweighted. I'm assuming the title is going to be splashed somewhere over in this corner too. So that I'll keep the cover balanced out. It's interesting to see what all is going on here. There's a lot of cool fighting going on. So yeah, so I mean, I'm digging it for that too. It's just really interesting. Like it. I like the cover. I like the way it looks. Oh, almost played sound from the ad. Careful. I have no idea what the heck that's all about though, but I'll part of the new spring event, I'm assuming. Squadron Supreme number 6. This is covered by Alex Garner. So Black Bolt looking all godlike. I mean, she's got kind of a nimbus around his head. Love these kind of lines going off of him. That's all cool and fine. Not sure who has pasted to the ground. Yeah, it's not a bad cover. You know, if you're supposed to make him look all bright and godlike, I mean that it does, and I think it works as far as that goes. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Cool. You know, I haven't looked to see if there's anybody commenting. So if you're commenting, I apologize. Let me look here. All right, Mega Execute is. Yeah, cool. I don't know, Terrence Comic Crack, if I will get to indie books today or not. Kind of depends on how my voice stands out. Yeah. Maybe the blue is supposed to feel more heroic feeling. I don't know if blue looks heroic feeling. It gives it more of a cold feel, doesn't it? Ooh, let's get back here so I'm not completely off stuff. Okay, I'll pay closer attention to the comments now. There are actually people in the comments. Didn't think of that. Hyperion number 2. I'll have to look to see who did the art on this. I like this cover. I like this big, bold. I mean, I know there's not a whole lot going in the background, but the character takes up enough of it. Hyperion takes up enough of the cover that I don't care that there's not much going on behind him. You couldn't fit that in anyway. This is my kind of comic book art. This is the kind of comic book art that I grew up with. I like all this great inking and line work and whatnot. This outstretched hand, this clenched fist, great emotion in his face. The wonderful little frail pieces of hair that don't go where they're exactly supposed to, kind of a thing. That's, to me, that's an exciting superhero cover. That's cool. I like that. And that was a cover by Emmanuel Lupacino. Good grief, I know I'm murdering all these names. A-Force number 4. Cover by George Molina. Okay, so clearly some big figure is casting a shadow down on them. Right off the bat, my first issue is Medusa here's face is bright and light, but she is in the shadow of this thing. The shadow works everywhere else. I mean, her half of her face is dark. All of She-Hulk's face is dark. So why did they light her face up? To me, that's just wrong. Otherwise, I like the cover. I mean, I like we're clearly looking from like the chest level or something of this, whatever this hulking figure is. They're all looking up, looking concerned about it. I think it all works from that. I'm not sure if the craters were on the moon or some other sort of planet or whatever. Not that really matters. It's enough texture to let us know that they're on some actual surface instead of floating in the void. They're all proportionally cool looking. They have concerned looks on their face. For me, all of that works. The only thing about this cover that doesn't work for me is the fact that her face is. I mean, the armpit does not go up that high to keep her forehead shiny like that. Not that bright. Not that bright. I mean, see here, her face her forehead and cheeks are lit, under cheek isn't. That all works. Why didn't they do that here? I'm sure I understand that, other than they didn't want her face too dark. And if that was the case, they should have placed the shadow differently. So that wasn't so much of an issue. I mean, clearly it doesn't matter with this character because she looks like a galaxy. So she's got her own light source. No, I mean, I like it. I like the cover. To me, that just pops out glaringly so as to why that is. And like I said, I mean, I didn't say that in this video. I'm being hypercritical of the covers because that's kind of what the video is about as far as that goes. Astonishing Ant-Man number 7, cover by Mark Brooks. And I like these covers because they're just ridiculously fun. Here they are, like some parade. The grizzly bear is taking selfies. He's got his beer hat on. Actually it's out of here. So maybe they're leaving Miami. I don't know. Because everybody else is going into Miami. They're leaving Miami because of the spring break and stuff. But it's cool. I like it. I like how shiny it is. I mean, it works for this kind of a thing. That car just pops because of how shiny it is. Like it's just fun. It's kind of the ridiculous stuff that Ant-Man is into, and so it works. It's cool. I like it. Well, because it's the perspective wise, puts them right in the middle, and you know, as far as that goes, and balance of the balance of it. So Chad says that the reason Medusa's face is so bright is it's in her contract. She can't have her face covered. I get it. But that's funny. Okay, so all new Hawkeye number 6. Ramon Perez is doing the cover work along with the inside. So I don't like this at all. I don't mind Perez's work when it's on small little panels blown up big. To me it shows all of its weaknesses and just how kind of sloppy and somewhat carefree. It's too loose for me. I mean, this thing, their faces look rough in my opinion. I don't care for the background. It's kind of the quasi floating head syndrome. You know, oh, this is the past or whatever. But it's so poorly detailed, but not faded. At the same time, it doesn't have it. To me, it doesn't work. It's frustrating to look at that and go, you know, what is that kind of that mess that's going on back behind it? You know, the arrow here that says Splody, it goes boom. I don't know. That's kind of cute, I guess, but I don't care for the cover. I don't like the art at all. Structurally, I guess it's somewhat balanced. This blank white spot of this arrowhead coming down somewhat balances off Kate on that side, but yeah, not a real fan of that. Mighty Thor, cover art by Russell Dotterman. Okay. First impressions, I like this. I like the oldness of it. It's got the kind of Norse or Celtic stuff going on with the swirls and knots that would be somewhat we all kind of view traditionally of that sign. You got your 2 ravens up top from Odin. You've got Odin's son down here. This is a Loki figure here. I'm not sure on that, but he's kind of interesting with the moss on him and stuff. It's relatively balanced, I think. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like it. It's interesting. It looks like the cover of of an old book or that sort of thing. I'm not sure exactly that's what they're going for, but it does kind of have that look to it too. Yeah, so I think it's pretty good for that kind of style of a kind of hearkening to that traditional art form of the Scandinavian kind of a thing. Kind of like it. The Ultimates. Ooh. Let's see here. It is cover by Kenneth Rawcraft, it looks like. There's a variant cover by Christian Ward, which we'll take a look at because I'm a Christian Ward fan. So here's the Rawcraft cover. A Galactus jumping through one of Miss America's dimensional stars. It's okay. I wonder why I know why he's this kind of gold color and whatnot, but I'm not sure why he's looking angry. If that's the case, so I'll be curious for that as far as the story goes. But as far as the cover, it's okay. I'm always a mixed bag on the way that Rawcraft colors things. It almost has a marker that's almost run out of ink kind of a look to it. The way it looks kind of streaky. So I'm always kind of half and a half on whether or not I like his art because of that. I mean, this is an okay cover. You know, him leaping forward and whatnot like that. Some part of me has a problem envisioning Galactus leaping, just because he's, I mean, anybody who knows Galactus, he's this mighty thing, and I can't imagine him needing to jump anywhere. But it's okay. It's an okay cover. I don't know that I'm super excited, but let's look at the Christian Ward variant cover. Wonder what this is going to cost me, because this looks awesome to me. You know, here, this to me screams Galactus. He's got a world in his hands. There's clearly some power coming off of it and whatnot. I just love the glow, the heat that's coming off of that world, that orb that he has in his hand, how it lights him up, you know, almost, except for his face, it almost flattens him out with this kind of bright power. You know, with this kind of, you know, galactic looking, you know, galaxy kind of swirl behind him. I mean, personally, I did Christian Ward is a brilliant artist when it comes to use of color and the layers of all those colors. I just really like it. Like I said, this is one of those kind of things where normally I get normal covers. If this isn't going to cost me a pretty penny, I'll probably get it instead. I actually do collect the Ultimates, so that's going to be the cover that I'm going to be interested in. So that's cool. I dig that. I think that looks really powerful and stuff. So I'm gonna look over the comments here. Everybody's bagging and boarding. It's a good thing to do while you're doing this. Okay, back to the covers. Let's go with Captain Marvel #4. Cover art is by Chris Anka. I hope no artists actually watch this thing, listen to me beat them up or murder their names. Okay, so I like this cover. You know, to me, it almost has a 1950s kind of a feel to it, with how simple like her face is and stuff, and the way it's kind of painted, colored. I think it works well, because if you look at the top left-hand corner, you're immediately drawn, you know, to the action of her flying, that ship flying that direction. You know, most of their movement is working the same way. The background is balanced out. I mean, it's clearly a world back there, but we don't have to have a lot of detail to it, just enough to have a sense that it's there, you know, and that sort of thing. In this case, a limited color palette, I think actually works pretty well. Yeah, you know, it's not a bad cover. You know, for the traditional Captain Marvel flying across the screen, I think it works really well. Okay, I'm not gonna read the Amadeus Cho Genius at Work. We're gonna skip that because I'm just looking at singles. Totally Awesome Hulk, cover by Frank Cho. Okay, so the Enchantress. Okay, I really like this cover. It works really well. She's clearly the centerpiece. Her throne made of an actual throne with, you know, Hulk there at her feet. All these, you know, stuff that I'm assuming is from the Asgardian, you know, type stuff or whatever. The fairies and trolls and that sort of stuff. All that stuff looks cool and interesting. Maybe because I like that sort of artwork and things anyway. Yeah, I mean, the tree in the background is a decent offset. You know, it looks like they are placed on the ground somewhere to some degree. So all those kind of things I kind of pick at all look real well. I love this bright little blue pillow in here. As it's like, you know, she's got this big hefty, stone throne that she's sitting on, but she still has pillows. She's a lady. She wants some comfort. You know, and the one little fairy there offering her flower. That's all cute for the little details. I really like this. I mean, this is a cool cover. And I like the line work that's there in it. I mean, you know, I like the shading They use some of the line work to help add to the shading down here on him curled up in a ball. So I like that aspect too. Yeah. Enchantress is well endowed, but I will give her this. She also is hippie. So, I mean, I can appreciate that for that aesthetic. If you're going to do one, do the other. Give her the hourglass shape. Marginally a little more realistic as far as that goes, as much as a comic book needs to be realistic, right? But yeah, I like that cover. That's a cool cover. Scarlet Witch #5, cover by David Aja, and I'm usually a big fan of David Aja work, so especially his cover work. And this is no exception. To me, this is great. This almost looks like a in some ways looks like a a book print or a poster for Camelot the musical kind of a thing. All of which I think look great. You got this kind of old traditional iconic looking sword, this kind of wheat shaft sort of a thing that all looks very traditional of the Middle Ages kind of a stuff. You got this wonderful of Scarlet Witch here. Clearly got some sort of story going on of witches being burnt at the stake down here. It has some elements of the fire in the bottom of her. Once again, extremely limited palette, but completely works with this. Beginning to wonder why there's so many darn white covers though. White covers frustrate me for a lot of reasons, but but at any rate, I'd be curious to look up this Latin. It's clearly it's Psalms 7:3. I'd love to know what this means. Is that the artist's choice to have put that in there, or did somebody say, hey, can you incorporate this saying in there? So my Latin's not strong enough to be able to ascertain what that means right offhand, and my knowledge of the Bible is even more limited as far as quoting verse. So yeah, I really like that cover though. That's a cool striking cover, I think. David Aja does a very good job of incorporating more of the graphic design elements into his covers to go along with the art that's involved in a traditional comic book cover. So I appreciate that. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. David Aja just does no wrong. So yeah. Very cool. Let's see. Let's go down to the Vision #6, cover by Marco Del Alfonso. Oh, if I get open here. Okay, I don't like this cover. I don't like this cover because, okay, so the background to me feels like very weak computer drawing, and yes, I'm one of those people that lots of times will use computer drawing or Photoshop, and I use that as a bad thing. Clearly there are masters who are very good at using computer animation to create great works and whatnot. I don't feel like this is the case. It's flat. It's lifeless. The flames don't look genuine to me. I'm almost wishing I didn't look at this cover because I read this comic and I don't really want to see this. And I don't even really, I mean, I like the idea. I like the idea of this embrace and this kiss because they can both be, intangible and them kind of drifting each other. I mean, they're a true embrace as they kind of are, sinking into each other. Yeah, that's really kind of cool. Or you can look at it as that she's sinking into him for some, maybe not more nefarious or instead of getting a real hug out of her, she's not really there to grab, kind of thing. I mean, so there's a couple different ways of looking at it, depending on how this story goes. So as far as storytelling goes and stuff, that could be interesting. That makes me question a lot of stuff. So I like the idea of it. The actual execution of the art, though, I just don't care for. To me, the line work is weak, and the way that they used whatever coloring option to color this just makes it lifeless. I feel like, and not it just still feels flat. And yeah, and lifeless for me. I like the idea of it. I just the art itself I don't think is executed well. Okay, I'm gonna skip that because that's a trade type thing. Black Widow number 2, cover by Chris Samney. There's a variant by Anna Wu that we'll probably look at it too, but let's look and see what this first one is here. Anybody out there picking this book up when it comes out? I know I am. Mark Waid, Chris Samney. They seem to do a pretty good job on stuff. So I'm curious to see what they can do with Black Widow. Okay, so I like this. I mean, I like the idea. The fact is that, we only got little bits and pieces that we're seeing. Their guns are lit a little bit, their faces kind of thing. But otherwise, clearly they're both wearing black, so that disappears, with minimum amount of color in there. I mean, that's kind of, to some degree, is a Chris Samney thing, the strength of using lots of inks and shadows and stuff. I'm not 100% sure what's going on in it, though, as far as her facial expression, the eyes of the other guy there and stuff. So I'm trying to decide if there's some storytelling going on that I'm just unaware of clearly at this point, because I don't know anything about the book because it's not out yet. Yeah, it's an okay cover. I mean, I like it. It has some interesting elements to it. Just don't. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think it works proportionally and weight wise, as far as across it works in all those kinds of elements. So there's none of those kind of things glaringly wrong with it. But I'm just not sure. I'm 100% sold on it. Here's the Annie Wu cover, which I actually really like. I like this cover because here's this dude, right? And reflected off of this dude is Black Widow's face. Total role reversal, right? Because most of the time we always see, if we're going to see this kind of thing, it's some, hot babe, some curvaceous babe, and then you get to see like James Bond's face, in the silhouette of the hot lady and whatnot. So I'm amused by the role reversal with this. I like it. I think it works really well. I mean, I think that it's a great, looking serious face of Black Widow silhouetted onto this beefy man. So yeah, I like it. Nova number 6, cover art by Humberto Ramones, which I am not a fan of. Humberto. I mean, I do like the design of this cover, though. This clearly larger Nova presence here, and our young team looks extremely concerned by that presence and stuff. But I think it works for that. This kind of, in the presence of great power and the kind of shock and awe and fear of that, I think works pretty well. So that's a pretty decent cover. Star-Lord number 6, covered by Dave Johnson. This is okay. Fractured Heart are 2 characters, one on each side. Faced away from each other, which is great. That helps accentuate the broken heart, kind of a deal. Clear in space, you got the rings of like what's around Saturn, that kind of glow. This nebula kind of a stream that's coming off of it even works too, with it coming out of the middle, because that just helps accentuate the cracked, broken heart, the energy that might come from that. So all those elements, work really well, I think. By the way, Dave Johnson used to actually run a blog where he would take covers that he thought were really bad and covers that he thought were really good, and he would post them, and he would talk about all the elements of those covers that were wrong and the stuff that he thought was right, which I thought was pretty ballsy of him, because I mean, he is a professional comic book cover artist himself, and to kind of be taking other artists to task, I mean, maybe that's a douchey move, but I found it interesting. He clearly way more articulate than me, as far as talking about it. He doesn't do that anymore. I'm sure probably at some point either he didn't have the time, or he realized that maybe that's not the most professional thing to do, to publicly be damning other people's covers. And he wasn't like he was damning. He would just explain what he thought, why those elements didn't work. And lots of times it was newer cover artists that maybe didn't know, good, fair criticism. There's nothing wrong with it, I don't think, other than people don't like it being publicly done. So anyway, and he was hard on his own covers too. He would go back to covers that he had done in the past, and he would tear them apart and tell you all the elements that didn't work and stuff. But anyway, this is an okay cover. It tells a story of some sort, and that's kind of cool when a cover does that. Drax number 6. Oops, who did the cover on this one? Scott Hepburn does the regular cover on it. Okay, so I mean, I kind of like this cover too. Just all the people that are clamming around Drax, the kind of bewildered look on his face, as these all look like children, maybe. Or whatever, all clamoring around him. I like his facial expression. I like the balance of the color. He's a little bit brighter than all of them. They're all kind of, in a much dimmer color palette than what he is. So that makes him stand out amongst the sea of semi-humanity that's there. It's got enough elements in the background that put us on some stony planet of some sort. This is okay to be kind of the void that it is, because the title's going to go up there and fill most of that in anyway. So I like it. I like the character in his face. I mean, they're clearly, there's some sort of emotion going on there. It's not just this poster boy face, kind of a thing that we see with some people's faces. So I like it. I mean, I think it's an interesting element. It's well balanced. It has a lot going on. It has lots of weight to it. Yeah, it feels stuck in. I like it. Like, it's good. Look at the comments here real quick. It looks like a James Herron cover. It does, kind of, his face and stuff, and some of the neck muscles and whatnot. If you're talking about what I'm talking about, I do see that. Let's see here. Let's go to Rocket Raccoon and Garut number 4, covered by Scotty Young. So, it's a Scotty Young cover. If you like Scotty Young covers, they're fun. If you don't like Scotty Young covers, then it's not fun. Scotty Young, I think, does a really good job of portraying what he wants to portray. This, the kind of kiddie, sort of a thing going on. That's fun. This is another great, well-balanced cover as far as structurally and stuff. The action comes right out and goes from left to right. It works well. You get your title up here in this kind of the blue area, so you don't sweat that open space so much. That balances that out. Yeah. Playing football with some purple dude. I'm not the biggest. I mean, I like some of the Scotty Young stuff. It's fun and cute, but I don't need a lot of it. I guess is my kind of thing. Guardians of Infinity number 5. Cover art by Gary Chu or Cho. I think it's Chu. 00. Yeah, I kind of like this. So, I mean, first thing, light source, all immediate looks good to me as far as what's being lit, what's being shadowed, that sort of thing. Intrigued by all the different jars of brains that are floating around. That's somewhat interesting. It looks like he has them attached to his shoulders and whatnot too. I'm not sure who this character is. So that I'm intrigued by that. That seems weird and whatnot. Some sort of alien force of some sort. He's got giant hands, giant arms versus his littler legs and whatnot. I really like his face though. I love the detail of his face, and his face is brighter, a little more sharper, a little more detail. That makes you want to focus on that. This center spot is where you want to focus on his face, that brain right there, that bit of orange and stuff. To me, that's great. I mean, it puts your eye right where it wants to be. I think your eye immediately draws that. There's enough going on in the background to be curious about, but really pops on his face, and it's a great face, really. I mean, the coloring that's going on in there, the shading and the line work for that kind of grim face, the bristled ridge of the eyebrow around the nose, the lines under the eyes, that puckered lip with the chin. It's good. It's good. And that, and not having the entire thing heavily detailed, just, having that be the detail in the brightest spot. You don't spend time getting down here looking at his feet and there's not, this is, pretty tame. There's not a lot of detail there. But it doesn't need to be. You got the detail where you really wanted that to focus on and whatnot. So it works. It's actually a pretty decent cover. I like that cover. And then, of course, the yellow versus the blues, or that contrasting colors. You see lots of that, kids. That's how that's used. Guardians of the Galaxy, number 7, cover by Arthur Adams. Wow. Art Adams. Haven't seen covers and artwork by him in a long time, it seems like. There in the early 90s, he was all the rage. I'd buy anything done by him. So here is Art Adams. I like this cover. And part of that is because I like Art Adams' artwork. I like his line work. The how much inking he uses, the fine lines, the lots of dots that he uses as the ink trails out, kind of thing. He doesn't do thick lines. He does lots of thin lines, as a whole. So you clearly got this big exciting thing going on. I mean, who can't like the Thing swinging a sword, dressed like Conan the Barbarian, riding like a dinosaur or a dragon kind of thing in combat with a bunch of other, aliens with swords and knives and whatnot. Come on, that's cool. A damsel in distress hanging off his backside. It's fun. I think it's fun for that. Because he's riding the only red thing on there and he's the only real yellow thing on there. He pops out. He rises above the rest of the stuff, which is what you really want to have done. Him be the strong point of it. Very fanciful looking. I look at this and I go, wow, maybe I'd want to read this. It appeals to me, my sensibilities, anybody else's, but it appeals to my sensibilities of the kinds of things that I think are fun. So yeah, cool. That's pretty cool. Venom, Space Knight number 6. Ariel Olivetti is the cover artist and interior artist. So this is one of those cases where clearly one thing was drawn and then slapped on top of another thing. And that always kind of bothers me, because when it does that, unless there's a reason for it to be that way, that these guys aren't really swinging through this tunnel that's exploding and whatnot. I don't like the fact that it doesn't have weight, that it doesn't, they don't feel attached to each other. And that always kind of, bothers me. There are bits and pieces of that I like. I mean, I like his muscle tone. I like the way it's shaded and stuff. That works great. His face looks great. Not sure what this material is that's gray here that doesn't allow that to be, because clearly it's skin tight most places, but I guess maybe not there. And so maybe that's, that's fine. So these two characters look great, but they both look like they were done separately and then dropped in, after the fact. and yeah, I don't know. It's got a celluloid feel, like, yeah, it's got a celluloid feel that I don't care for in a cover because it doesn't feel, the things don't feel attached. Things don't have the same level of weight. If that makes sense. I don't know that I'm making sense there, but it bugs me. It bugs me when I see covers like this. There are other people who do this same kind of thing where, some of the stuff is, they do some Photoshop manipulation or whatever, and they go back and do it in other ways and stuff, and they do it well. Ben Templesmith does a lot of it, and I don't know that you would know that it all blends together and matches up well. There's, like I said, there's plenty of artists that do. Ben Templesmith's the first that comes to mind. But do it so much better than this. Yeah, I don't care for that. Howard the Duck. See cover art by Joe Quidnos and Erica Henderson. This one's got Squirrel Girl on it. Actually really like this cover. Clearly, she's the predominant thing here. You've got the connect the dots thing going on behind. I think that's funny. And the reason I think that's funny is there's Chip Zdarsky. That's a picture of him. I'm betting that these people are pictures of some of the other, artists or whatever, but that's definitely Chip up there in the corner. So I find that funny. And just all these lines drawn to different stuff, cats and all the fun characters, Aunt May maybe back there. All this, the fun characters that are going on in this also. She looks cute. She's got the typical squirrel girl kind of face going on, that, that awe face kind of a thing. And I don't know if she's looking at Howard and giving the googly eyes or what, but I think it's a fun cover. It works well. She's clearly centered in there. You get right on her face. This is really the framed part of it, and that's great. And yeah, good. It's a good cover. Good cover. Briefly glance at comments just to see what. Okay, so yeah, pretty much agreeing with what I'm talking about and whatnot. So let's see here. Silver Surfer #4, Mike Allred cover, of course. And I love this cover. I'm a big Mike Allred fan. I think he does smart things. I mean, okay, first and foremost, there is one thing about this Silver Surfer, him laying on a hospital bed. The distance from his feet to his legs to his waist, this is wrong. I'll just say that now. At the angle that we're looking at him at, there needs to be more distance here. I mean, his feet need to come out to the end of the surfboard almost for this to really look right. This distance, to me, it looks screwy. That being said, it's Mike Allred, and Mike Allred doesn't always 100% stay true to the the proportions for what it is. And you're going to say, no, Travis, all this weight on the left-hand side of all these, characters, clamoring to check on or whatever, get something out of the Silver Surfer. It's all weighted to that side. It is, but in a sense, because all that weight on that one side, and then this clearly Silver Surfer laying in a hospital bed, it balances itself. It balances itself out in that, in the sense that it puts a focus on the Silver Surfer being in a hospital bed. If this hospital bed had been in the middle and it had been surrounded by all these characters, we could say, oh, it's weighted proportionally, it's all centered and everything, but it wouldn't have the same sort of drama that potentially that this has, because it is heavy on the left with all these, all these heroes there and whatnot. But I think it's supposed to, and I think it does focus on the fact that clearly the Silver Surfer is in dire straits and whatnot. It's just kind of fun to see Mike Allred draw a whole bunch of crazy heroes in there too and stuff. So yeah, I like it. I think it works. I think it works. Sometimes I worry about looking at all these covers because some of these covers have potential spoilers in it. I mean, Silver Surfer in a hospital bed. What's that up with that, right? So Ms. Marvel #6. This cover is by David Lopez. Oh, we've lost the Cliff Chang covers. That's kind of a bummer. Okay, so okay. I had to kind of look at this. I think this is a thumb. I think this is her thumb. I'm not sure whose thumb that is and why that thumbnail and stuff looks weird like it does. But I'm guessing that's what it is because I'm guessing that a giant version of what almost looks wood. Okay, so it looks like a wooden floor. Yeah, this is wood. You look at her, it looks like wood. So some giant wooden version of Ms. Marvel is picking up the kosher hot dog stand, and which of course she goes to all the time. Ms. Marvel, the hot dog stand is her equivalent of going to the bar. She'll go and buy hot dogs and talk to the hot dog vendor instead of going into a bar and drinking and talking to the bartender. That kind of stereotypical thing, which I think is funny. Anyway, so it's her hanging on to that. That's the hot right there. The guy says the shirt says boss. That's the hot dog stand runner. So some wooden version is I mean I like it. I mean it's fun. I'm not sure why it's purple though. Why everybody's purple? Odd coloring. Sometimes I don't understand why they couldn't have just colored her normal and then had the rest of the stuff going on the way it is. Her being wood, this giant version being wood makes sense as to why that thumb looks the way it does. But to me, that's fun. That's a fun cover. I mean, that's, the craziness that Ms. Marvel gets into. I like her face, the eyes looking down at what the hell is going on, and her yelling and hanging on to everything. That's cool. That's a great cover. I like it. Just don't understand the color choices sometimes. Why they didn't make her normal colored. All New Inhumans #6, cover by Jamal Campbell. Okay. So wrecked Spider-Man and friends. Okay, so I like Crystal. I'm assuming this is Crystal in the middle here, the way she's lit up and whatnot. Energy coming out of her eyes and her mouth. Clearly, she's unleashing some sort of power. Not sure about this jagged crystal sword type thing going up to the right like that. I don't know. That's, to me, to some degree, throwing it off. I don't know why. I'm sure they felt like they had to have something else in the background besides just kind of jagged, weird terrain that everybody's laying amongst, kind of a thing. So yeah, I mean, the drama is there, her throwing this guy off back behind her, the other defeated people. It's okay. I mean, I like the coloration of it. I just not, that weird crystallized thing. I don't understand why that's going the way it's going and stuff. Other than they thought they had to have some sort of background, so they just put some random object back there and having it go off the way it is. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's okay. It's okay cover, I guess. Let's see here. Uncanny Inhumans #7. This is a cover by Stacy Lee. I don't know what I want to say about this. I don't particularly care for it. I mean, there's elements of it that I like, but okay, so the space on the cover is used well as far as this guy up front, the crazy lightning or whatever's going on with him, the energy coming off of him. His gun's hooked up to his glasses. That all works. The top part works too in its own way. Do they work together? I don't know if they work together. I don't know, what that's about. The color choice, I do like those colors, those purples and stuff. And I mean, if he's lit up by some sort of Blade Runner neon kind of a thing, it works as far as that goes too. I don't hate this cover, but to me, there's something wrong with it, and I just don't know what I can place on it. So I guess I won't pick on it. At least it's not a white cover. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I don't know what to say about it. I mean, like I said, there's elements I like, and then somewhere it falls down, but I'm not sure exactly where. Karnak number 6. I think it's hilarious. They're soliciting number 6. It's probably been 4 months, and we haven't seen number 2 yet. Cover by David Aja, of course. Great cover, because this is the tower that Karnak is. His tower of thought, or whatever it's called, that he, him and his monks spend in. He's the top of the tower, clearly in pain, clearly exploding. I just like the like I said, the graphic artist end of this thing. It looks traumatic. It's explosive. It looks pretty bad, but bad in a good way. So I don't know. I guess it could be phallic. You could chuckle, I guess, if you wanted to, about the phallic nature of it. But I still like it. I still like it. Doesn't say it's the end of the book, but I kind of wondered. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Cover art by Amy Reeder. She's also the writer. So, I mean, I like this cover. It's fun. You have this bright, the bright red dinosaur that she is riding. It looks pretty crazy. She's riding along. She's wearing a boxing glove on one hand. So all those elements are fun as it stomps through the zoo. Not the zoo, but the museum, running over the other dinosaur skeletons and stuff. There's lots of busyness going on with all the skeletons and whatnot, but that fills things out, I think, relatively well. As it's smashing through and makes for some excitement. But the dinosaur itself looks great. It looks attached to this marble floor. It has weight there, which I think is good. It's kind of a fun cover for what it is. That's cool. Doctor Strange, number 7. I don't know who does this cover. All I'm seeing here is it says that Civil War variant cover to be announced, but it doesn't say who the cover artist is. I mean, Chris Balacho is the artist inside. So I don't know. I don't know who did the cover, whose cover this is. Townsend? I'm not sure that signature, but I love this cover. This close up of this guy's face. Some of that is actual paint or markings. Some of the splotches, I don't know if that's some sort of ichor. Clearly tatters are the only color on this is the tatters coming from what's left of Doctor Strange's cape. That to me is really cool. I love the cross hatching and dotted work here that gives this part of his face a little more texture, a little more shadowing and whatnot. I'm sure some of that's done with like inking with fingerprints. I'm sure that's the artist's fingerprints that makes some of that there as far as the actual technique. His face is really strong. This part's really strong. The part we're really going to focus on, his eyes, his nose, his lips, this, and it kind of fades back into a little more obscured, a little more rubbed out, a little more miffed, the rest of it. And that's fine. because in that way we're not concentrating on the top of his head. It really, because this is blurry, it really pulls our eyes and makes us focus on what is sharp and clear. So it makes it really kind of, visceral. I mean, it just, that stuff that's, over his mouth and whatnot, to me is just, it has, weight, it has feeling. I like it. I like it. I think that's a cool cover. That's a pretty dramatic cover. Another white cover, but pretty dramatic cover. So, Doctor Strange, Last Days of Magic #1. Kind of looking over the solicitations because what is this Last Days of Magic thing? Gonna have to go figure that out. At any rate, Last Days of Magic, cover by Mike Perkins. Try to decide if this is something I need to get. Okay, so a bunch of Giblins up at the top. I love the way they're drawn. I love the way that they're colored. Bright to one side, darker to the other side, but all in the same sort of palette. Look pretty cool. You got Doctor Strange, whipping out some sigils and whatnot. And he looks okay too. Not sure if we're seeing him falling backwards. He's looking up. Not 100% sure I understand that part of it. I like these monsters up here though, so I'm a bit fond of the cover for those things, more so than Doctor Strange himself. That part's okay. This is an okay cover. I don't know where they're going to put the title, the title graphics for this at. I have a feeling they're going to put them over the monsters, which is the coolest part of the of the book, I think, which will be unfortunate. It's like I like all this inking design back here. I wish they would have done more of that same style with him, really. This is an okay cover. I'm not sure why we have it set. I don't know if that angle works or not. Clearly, you end up looking at Doctor Strange because you've got this kind of these white voids behind him, so that makes him stand out amongst the sea of monsters. My personal thing is I look at these monsters though, because that's more what eyes gravitates towards and are more interested in. So this is a Year of Marvels, the Amazing #1. I'm not sure what this is. Some sort of a travel through time kind of a thing. I didn't look to see who the cover artist for this was. So, here's Spider-Man once again, the classic brawling with the Vulture up in the air kind of a thing, saving a Valentine box. And of course, here's Grizzly and Ant-Man in some, crazy, club in Miami. They looked, off-put and whatnot, which I think is funny. The split cover, I don't know, what we're supposed to make of that. Both these pictures are fun looking, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I'm assuming it's 2 different things. So hopefully our graphic for the title goes in the middle there to help break that 2-paneled thing up there. Sorry for yawning. That was by Jamal Campbell is the cover for that. Patsy Walker, aka Hellcat #5. Brittany Williams does the cover here for this. So it's the classic cover with talking on it. Of course, the white void at the top is so they can do the whole, title for Hellcat. Has a quasi Archie look to it. So this cover is not a whole lot of anything. I mean, the conversation is not really great. It's not all that interesting. I can't imagine She-Hulk would ever wear what they have her wearing there. But other than that criticism, this is okay. There's not anything, really special about this. I mean, sometimes I think it's fun to have, word balloons and talking on the cover. Make it part of the comic book as opposed to just some piece of art they slapped on the front of the book. Yeah, I don't know. That's okay. Not real great. Nothing for me to get excited or be, or anything like that. So. Phallic symbol road in comics. Yeah. Comic crack. There's lots of the phallic symbol stuff going on in there and whatnot. So let's see. What's next? Contest of Champions. Cover art by Paco Medina. Okay, so well, this is interesting because this is the Ultimates. This team here is the Ultimates. So they're obviously going to be in this in this issue. I actually like this cover. You know, first off, you see, oh my gosh, they're not attached to anything, but it's not true. I mean, here's the ground. There's the weight here. I love the swoosh of energy. They're jumping through one of Ms. America's stars. Not sure why she's wearing shorts like that. But you know, this is pretty exciting. Them all leaping out to battle, you know, to battle him. His pose is great. It's very dynamic. He's crouched back and ready to block on the pounce of Black Panther. So I mean, as far as, you know, superhero, let's fight, you know, kind of a cover, I think this one works really good. I mean, you know, Captain Marvel's flying through there, you know, clearly getting like she's ready to, you know, to slam the heat on him and stuff. So yeah, no, I like that. I like the coloring of it too. It's a good cover. You know, as far as an exciting, there's going to be a fight. This is a kind of cover that works really well. Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. Erica Henderson does the regular cover on this. So here you go, a big giant pile of cute, right? You've got her leaping there, and it's balanced out by a bunch of random pictures of happy squirrels. Oh no, this is a Dorian cover. That's not her cover. That's the Dorian cover. That's the classic variant by Colleen Dorian. Let's try this one. This one will probably look more like hers. Oh, I don't know. This is the classic. I don't understand that, because this is the classic one. You know, choose the story when you're the unbeatable Squirrel Girl. You know, it's all kind of a beat up old cover. Which I like. I like the kind of old beat up old cover to it kind of thing. It looks classic. It works perfect for that as far as that kind of a thing goes. You know, so it's enjoyable for looking like an old classic kind of a cover. But I don't understand why this cover has Dorian's name on it. Yeah, I'm confused. Anyway, that cover's okay. I don't really particularly care for it. The shading, the way the coloring used and whatnot makes it not very strong. Makes it fairly weak, in my opinion. Limited depth, and I think that it should have more depth. I mean, in this era of coloring and how good so many colorists are at creating different layers of depth, there's not a lot of that here, and so not particularly impressed with that. So. Hercules #6, covered by Jay and Anna Sleto. God, oh, so sorry for the names. I like this. This is some great art. You know, I mean, the dog looks great. These people look really interesting and whatnot. I love the paint job. You know, the kind of the tones. She kind of pops out because of her like really white and blue amongst the kinds of browns that these other people are. But to me, it's just, I mean, Hercules looks, you know, interesting. You know, Hercules' friends look, you know, pretty interesting here. You know, Hercules clearly looks strong, but he's not some ridiculous hulking looking thing. So, no, I mean, you know, when they're in some city, you know, it looks interesting. I mean, I like this cover. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool looking. I mean, I want to know what's going on with these, you know, tribal looking woman with a, you know, with a magnum and that sort of stuff. I mean, our lady with the pipe wrench, you know, what that's all about. Yeah. I like it. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I like the color palette of that too. Red Wolf #5, covered by Jeffrey Burgundy. Ugh, don't know how to say that name at all. There you go. You can say it for yourself. This is more kind of the graphic design kind of a cover. Fairly simple. I mean, clearly there's the TNT. The pillars are dynamite. Santa Rosa City Hall. It's got the time clock set to the thing, so I get the idea of it. It's okay. I don't think it's that great as a whole. The title Red Wolf is off. It needs to be moved. I get why they did that, so the tower fits in there, but I'm immediately thrown by the fact that there's a quarter of an inch to this side from the cover to the F, and there is like an inch and a quarter to this side from the R to this side. So that bugs me, right off the bat. As far as that goes, I mean, like I said, I know they tried to squeeze that through someplace, and if the W was over it, you'd get lost behind there. I don't know, figure that out some other way, but that the title being off by that much, it bothers me. I don't know, should put it down the side or something different, if that was the case. It's okay. I'm not impressed with this. This is nothing about this cover would make me want to pick this up. Yeah, I don't care for it at all. Starbrand and Night Masks number 5, cover by Yasmin Pruti. So I like these blues and this kind of astral space kind of a look. I'm a sucker for that look of the thing. Who this is? This like an observer? I don't know. That's kind of a curious, character back there and stuff. Holding the balanced scales. Okay, so I get that they're standing on one side. Somehow it's swinging forward and is underneath this one. So, I mean, I get the idea. I don't know that it physically works, how they're wanting to show it, as far as that goes. It's an okay cover for trying to represent that without it being, straightforward, having a different angle to it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's fine. I mean, I like the brightness of the colors and stuff. I mean, it's attractive to my eye in one way, but technically there's problems with it, I guess is what I want to say about it. Angela, Queen of Hell, number 7. This is a Stephanie Hans cover. I am usually a big fan of hers. I mean, I like this cover. Them walking forward across this bridge. The wind is blowing in their faces. Well, it's blowing in the back of Angela's head. That's why her hair is flopping forward into her face that she's, folding out. Her wonderful ribbons are going all over the place. I like the kind of sunset brightness over here that shines across. Your eye wants to go to that. And then that puts you, looking at Angela, and then what Angela's reaching out to, which brings you over to Sierra. So I mean, I think that works, to get this scene of them coming together on a bridge, which I'm assuming is Brooklyn Bridge because everything happens in New York, right? So yeah, I mean, like it's a fine cover. Not super exciting, but it's fine. Mockingbird number 2, cover by Jolene Jones. Oh, awesome corgis. So I'm a big fan of Jolene Jones. I love her faces and whatnot. This face up here that's a floating head frustrates the hell out of me because I don't like floating heads. Did we really need that? What would it look like if we didn't have that? Yeah, there might be a lot of heavy space up there in the night sky. I'd rather have that than that weird floating head. We got these other 2 things going on in the background too. The I don't know, the S&M thing going on to one side, clearly. The butler from, some sort of, can't remember what the heck the name of that Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman movie was that had some of that sort of stuff going in. So clearly there's something like that. She's clearly, I'm assuming in England, the corgis, I would guess, are the Queen's corgis, right? Love the way she looks, and I love the way she did the corgis. They're awesome. They look fun. I look at them and I laugh, for them being the wonderful little dogs they are. I love the architecture in the background. I love the way it's colored as far as all that, this kind of blue screens and whatnot, and her standing out from that and stuff. That's all fun. Just not sure that I like those odd elements kind of slapped in the background as kind of, I just feel like there should have been some other way to incorporate that in. It's layers of things that don't match up together, but I know they all have to do with what's going on in the story. And so that element of it frustrates me, but I do like her and I love the corgis. They all look great together. So it makes me like it for that. But the two guys in the background, even though they're equal, so they're almost like columns, are still weird things to have columned there. And then there's that one face that just, and I know what that does is that face levels out the lanterns, the higher lanterns off to the left, because otherwise the rest of the stuff is 2-point perspective, sloping away from us to the right like it is. And that balances the stuff that's on the cover out. But floating heads always drive me crazy. It just, what the hell is that about? I don't, yeah. So let's see. Weird number 5. Mike Del Mundo does the cover for Weird number 5. And I'm a fan of Mike Del Mundo. He gets to do some crazy stuff. And here we are. We've got this. You look at the top, there's some sort of like lion type face here, these eyes flashing lightning off of them or whatever. I say lion because this looks like a cat nose to me. That brightness of those eyes make your eyes go down. You go down to our two heroes, and hilariously, obviously that electricity has static electricity in it, and it's lifting their hair up. It's making everything, static cling kind of thing going on. I think that's funny, but puts our eyes and our main people and focuses our eyes in on that. And I think that's the cover is supposed to do that. It makes us focus where we're supposed to as far as that goes and whatnot. And it works as far as that, the elements to where your eyes are supposed to be at, where you're supposed to be concentrating on and looking out for this wearable cover. It's just fun. I like it. Power Man and Iron Fist number 3, cover by Sanford Green. You have to like this style of art to, I think, to appreciate this, this cover. It's definitely a style. It's not the typical style for either DC or Marvel as far as superhero type stuff goes. But I like it. I like the way they both look. I like the smugness, them laying on top of them, high-fiving. Of course, the one woman's bigger. She's taller and higher up than the other one is. It might have made more sense to some degree to equal and balance it out, to have it the other way around, have her sitting on Iron Man and have the taller woman sitting on Iron Fist to proportionally make that work a little bit better. It's a fun cover. It's amusing. For what it is and that style and whatnot. It looks funky, and I'm not sure how this book is going to come across, but I am curious about it. Daredevil number 6, cover by Bill Sikowitz, and I'm going to beat this cover up, and I know I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to. I love Bill Sikowitz. He is a favorite artist of mine. I have loved him way back since the early 80s. There's just lots of things about him that I do like. I am really bothered by this cover, though. One of the things I'm bothered by this hunched forward Elektra. It looks horrible as far as that whole pose. It just doesn't make any sense at all that she would be that lean forward like that, unless there's other things going on. The scarf that's on her head, to my opinion, is set too high. It's just a lot about this thing that threw me off. I mean, it used to be like a quarter less if it's really tied down onto her head, as opposed to being some weird dome thing that's sitting on top of her head like a hat. I like the sword, like the thinness of the sword and whatnot. I do appreciate the fact that with Daredevil being back here, he is up high enough that his crotch and waist are well above Elektra, because otherwise this cover becomes a whole different kind of a story if it wasn't that way. You know, but I do like that element. I like the background stuff. I don't know that I like it all kind of muffed out and stuff. I mean, that's to some degree that's Sikowitz kind of style, so I appreciate for that. But there are just elements of this that to me just feel broken, that aren't working right. So I really kind of wish that would that it was a little better than what it was. As far as a Sikowitz cover, this isn't a very strong one, but I really do like him as an artist, and most of his work I do appreciate. Make sure I'm still broadcasting here. Okay, looks like I still am. Uncanny X-Men number 6, cover by Greg Land. I do not care for Greg Land. And here it is, the Greg Land cover, and proportionally. So it's a big giant screaming head. In this case, I don't mind the big giant screaming head blasting the heroes all over the place. I can get behind that. I actually kind of like the way the head looks and stuff. That screaming face, it's very bang, in your face. Even the energy and the fake Kirby crackle that's around it and stuff. I like all that part of it and stuff. This actually isn't a bad cover. I actually kind of like it for being a Greg Land thing. It's kind of surprising. But I like the kind of blasting of the character's way. It's a classic comic book cover, in the Bronze Age, at least, kind of a thing. And so I can dig it for that. So I like it for that. Extraordinary X-Men number 9. Humberto Ramos does the cover of this. So clearly we're in some sort of desert. There's some sort of sandstorm, some sort of story going on up here. I don't know. That pyramid looks like it's flying, so I'm not sure what's up with that. And this guy kind of fighting the dust. It is. I'm not a big fan of his as a whole, but this doesn't look too bad. I don't know if that's an eye-popping kind of a cover. The last cover we looked at, that Greg Land one, was it really like, come and get me kind of a cover. This one's a bury me kind of cover. I don't know. It's okay, but not real great. It just is. Old Man Logan number 4. Andre Sorrentino cover. So I kind of like this. I like the hand holding up the shield. I don't know that somebody's fist would stick out the other side of the Captain America shield. The shield I thought would be big enough that you would see that fist, but I get the element as to why they would do it that way. I love this reflection of the skull in it, though. I don't know that normally you see the Captain America shield, the star kind of upside down too. So that's kind of an interesting, sort of an element. This, levitating. I can say levitating because that's what it looks like. He looks like Wolverine is being levitated, like in a magic show there. Him being blue, that makes him pop out. I really like the skull in the reflected in the shield kind of a thing, I guess, more than the rest of it. It's not a bad cover, but it's not a great one either. Yeah, it works. The elements there work. I was kind of thinking about it, but yeah, so it's okay. I like it. Old Man Logan number 5. Ooh, didn't know this thing double shipped. Let's see. This one is by Sorrentino also. Not sure if that's what this one is. Yep. And see, I really like this one. I love the black, white snow. It looks like falling down. Him sitting on a log. Clearly he's, butchered somebody, kind of a thing. A little bit of blood on the claws, the splatter of the kill below. This is a striking cover because of the black and white with just a little bit of red in it. I think this one works really well. I really like the way this one, comes across the negative and positive spaces. The inking of that log that he's standing on is really great. The big fat fluffy snowflakes. The fact we don't really, we kind of see his feet and that stuff is all dark the way it is. Yeah, cool. I like that one. That one's really cool. Really cool. X-Men 92 #2 cover by David Nakahama. And I don't like this at all. I mean, I get that it looks like the element of the cartoon that the comic book is based off of, these big looming bodies and this running forward of stuff. I don't care for these kind of elements. I guess it's a chessboard of sorts is kind of back there to give him something to be standing on. But yeah, I'm not totally digging that thing. I don't know if my comments aren't working because my phone keeps trying to act like it's telling me that I'm getting comments. So pardon me while I check just to make sure there's nothing going on there that I have to do with my video. So yeah, so yeah. Anyway, so I'm not a real big fan of this cover at all. I don't like those kinds of elements, the giant floating people up above, and the little people running around, unless they're puppet masters or something. And maybe that's what we're supposed to be getting out of this kind of a thing. But yeah. And the run forward, forget to show a leg thing always kind of bugs me. I'm not sure. All New Wolverine #7 cover by Bengal. I love this cover. Right off the bat, right at top here, eating some great noodles and whatnot. Two young people, snacking away. I love the fact that she's got one of her rolls on one of her blades. They look like they have eating faces, fat cheeked, eating faces. I love that. The perspective looks excellent, for this. They're bad guys all beat up and laying amongst the dumpsters. It's great. The colors work well. The kind of glow of yellows of street lights and stuff. The kind of dark and gray around in the background. Yeah, no, I really like that cover. That's a great looking cover. Has some cool stuff going on in there and whatnot. So. Like the scruffiness of it, the pieces of torn costume. Looks like they just did a brawl and now are eating some takeout. Takeout sounds really good. So yeah. All New X-Men #8. Mark Bagley cover. Oh, not a Mark Bagley fan, but this looks like fun, magic and science, mixing together. I don't know if these are supposed to be in the same place together or if this candle is supposed to kind of separate them, because clearly the element of the magic stuff ends here and this starts. So I guess that's kind of what it's supposed to be. Okay, cover in the traditional sense of the kind of cover. I think that I think to a large degree, the Doctor Strange side pops out more because these two bright candles floating here versus him holding out this. But this does keep it proportionally weighted. This bubbling beaker held out here on the left-hand side weights the right-hand side candle. The candle in the middle holds you just the middle. We look at it. You look at that trinity of symbols there, puts your eye in the middle to look at their faces, which is kind of where you want to be at for this cover. So yeah. It's a sound cover. A Bagley cover. I'm not a big Bagley art fan in general. So Deadpool 9 and 10, covered by Mike Allred. Crazy Sabretooth, I would guess that is, raging face there. And I get it. It is a Pac-Man, and Sabretooth is the one of the Pac-Man, and or Ghost, I guess, be a ghost, and Deadpool is picking up the dots like Pac-Man would. Amusing. It works for what it is. It's goofy kind of a thing. Yeah, I like Mike Allred's art, so it's always fun to look at Mike Allred art. But yeah, I don't know. Not the greatest though. Deadpool in the Works for Money #3, cover by Declan Shalvey. I like this. As far as kind of weird floating face, there's kind of a history of the stuff going on, behind it there. This kind of colored purple, but great line work of these characters' faces and whatnot, and this kind of hunched over, annoyed looking Deadpool stalking off. Feels strange that he's going to the left as opposed to the right, but yeah, I mean, it's a pretty cool cover. I think it looks pretty sharp for that sort of a thing. If you're going to have that kind of a background, kind of an element going on there like that. This one seems to work pretty well, partially because the whole background isn't that way. That you got half this is a black, kind of a black panel there. So looks like that's a pretty good looking piece of art. X-Men, the worst X-Men ever, #3, Michael Walsh. Cover art here. Not a huge fan, but I mean, it works. You got these kind of creepy, those are Wraiths, right? Some old school monsters. I don't know if the Wraiths are even still around, but anyway, Wraiths attacking this, X-Men running forward. Pretty simple for what it is, but I think it works. The kind of weird pink eyes, the spookiness. It looks like a Scooby-Doo kind of a thing almost in that sense as he's running from it. I kind of like it. I like it. My favorite art style, but the design of it and the placement of it and everything about as far as that goes, the elements work really well. I do like it. I'm going to skip the Dark Tower one. Let's look at Haunted Mansion 205. Cover by E.M. Geist. And I really like this. I mean, you get these great kind of ghost figures. You get the wonderful, I don't know if you've been to Disneyland or not. If you've been to Disneyland, you go to the haunted house, you get this, you're in a room and it's like an elevator. You feel like you're dropping. I'm pretty sure it's actually the walls going upwards. You're not actually moving, but it gives you the illusion of that. And you see this ballerina, and then you find out that the ballerina is actually on this, precarious, tightrope, and the alligator is underneath her to potentially eat her, and there's the ghosts all around, and it's just kind of I don't know, that's cool. I like the way these ghosts are done. The kind of greenish transparency of them and whatnot. It's good looking cover, good looking piece of art. It's like one of their Disney things. I'm assuming. Let's see. I'm gonna skip the Miracle Man thing. Let's see here. I'm gonna skip the TV tie-in stuff also. Am I supposed to look at the Star Wars stuff? I'm not gonna look at the Star Wars stuff either. There's too much Star Wars stuff. Yes, I said it. Empress, #1 of 7. Mike Millar doing a story. Not even sure what this is about. Stuart Oeming cover. I believe this is the Stuart Oeming cover. Is that Stuart Oeming? Not sure if that is or not. This is an okay cover. It's got, of course, the people behind our main. I love the way she looks. She looks awesome. Love the interior of her cloak type thing. Love the colors of her. The design of her is really cool. I like this kind of earth in front of a moon in front of a sun kind of a deal that's going on. Never a fan of the kind of weird faces that are behind it, though, as a whole. It does help balance it out. But I like the way she looks. I love the colors of her, that green versus the the yellows and whatnot. So elements I like, elements I'm not a particular fan of, but that one's an okay looking cover. Let's see. I think we're getting into the trades. So I think we are about done. So I'm going to go back up here. I will talk about these Star Wars covers, so I'm not considered a Star Wars bigot. Obi-Wan and Anakin number 4. I don't like this cover. Darth Vader's head that looks to me like it's been spray painted in that airbrushed in that 70s cruiser van kind of a way. The side of his head has been painted with Jedis, which makes no sense at all, right? So yeah, I don't like this at all. You know, if you're gonna want this scene, put this scene in there. Put Darth Vader somewhere else in it, or don't put both elements in it, or something. Don't care for that one bit. Star Wars number 18. See, I kind of like this one of our two heroines kind of swinging forward. They look great. I love the line work of them. I like the way they're colored. You know, whatever this robot is, it's in the background that gives it some sort of a background, so it's not just a white void. Works in this case, you know, I guess. And maybe it's just the fact that Princess Leia and her friend there are strong enough elements to make it doesn't matter what's going on back there, but they clearly need something to break it up the white, you know, the white cover. But I do like the way they look. They're kind of cool looking. Yeah. Darth Vader number 19. A Brooks cover, and I don't really care for this Brooks cover. Darth Vader looks like he's tipped backwards, like he's almost like his head's gonna fall over. You know, I mean, I know he was kind of stiff in some of the early movies, but there he looks really stiff, doesn't he? The way his arms are held and his shoulders and stuff. Yeah, he's a bad element. You know, our two people in front, they look okay. And I mean, and it looks well balanced. The lightsabers make it, you know, kind of well balanced here as far as those kinds of elements go. You know, clearly you're kind of looking in the middle, you know, of this thing, which we should do. But I'm bothered by the fact that Darth Vader, it looks like I'm looking at his chin. I'm assuming we're supposed to be because he's taller than they are, but it's still a weird angle. It still looks like he's going to tip over and fall backwards to me. You know, he's on the verge of that is what it looks like. So, and that be it. That be it for the Marvel. Let's see if I can get this to stop. That'd be it for the Marvel covers. Thanks for hanging out here. Hopefully soon I will get to the independent ones. I'm not going to do them right now. I have other duties that need to be taken care of before I do that, but I might do that this afternoon because I really want to kind of get to those just because it shouldn't just be about the big two. We get all kinds of other elements in the you know, the image covers. They don't have the same sort of stuff going on. They're not using stock. You know, they're not using stock art that they just have sitting around because the big two both have art that they've had sitting around for years and years and years. Just, hey, we're paying this artist to draw, you know, a Captain America, a cover with Captain America on it. And then they choose whether or not they're going to use it somewhere down the road. If it matches up for something they want to use, they've already paid for it. They drop it in, that sort of a thing. So, so I want to get to that. But at any rate, this was Marvel. Hopefully my Marvel bias doesn't fit in there. It's not that I dislike Marvel. I'm just more engaged with DC, I guess, than I am with Marvel, but I'm always collecting more along as we go along. So anyway, thanks for commenting and whatnot. I guess let me look at the comments real quick before I completely hang up out of here. You know, thanks for commenting and whatnot. I'm kind of reading over the comments. I mean, I don't want to talk about them a whole lot because it's not like anything in there particularly is engaged. They're agreeing with me or talking amongst yourself, which is awesome. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you on the next Uncover the Covers. Bye.